Book 23, Odysseus and Penelope. Euryclea runs to Penelope to announce the return of Odysseus and the defeat of the suitors. The faithful wife, the perfect mate for the wily Odysseus, suspects a trick from the gods and decides to test her would-be husband. She succeeds in teasing him to distraction. Crossing the door-sill, she sat down at once in firelight against the nearest wall, across the room from the lord Odysseus. There, leaning against a pillar, sat the man and never lifted up his eyes, but only waited for what his wife would say when she had seen him. And she, for a long time, sat deathly still in wonderment. For sometimes as she gazed she found him, yes, clearly like her husband, but sometimes blood and rags were all she saw. Telemachus's voice came to her ears. Mother, cruel mother, do you feel nothing, drawing yourself apart this way from father? Will you not sit with him and talk and question him? What other woman could remain so cold? Who shuns her lord, and he come back to her from wars and wandering after 20 years? Your heart is as hard as flint and never changes. Penelope answered, I am stunned, child. I cannot speak to him. I cannot question him. I cannot keep his eyes upon his face. If really he is Odysseus truly home, beyond all doubt we two shall know each other better than you or anyone. There are secret signs we know, we two. A smile now came to the lips of the patient hero Odysseus, who turned to Telemachus and said, Peace. Let your mother test me at her leisure. Before long she will see and know me best. These tatters, dirt, all that I'm caked with now, make her look hard on me and doubt me still. Odysseus orders Telemachus, the swineherd, and the cowherd to bathe and put on fresh clothing. Great-hearted Odysseus, home at last, was being bathed now by Eurynomé, and rubbed with golden oil, and clothed again in a fresh tunic and cloak. Athena lent him beauty head to foot. She made him taller and massive too, with crisping hair and curls like petals of wild hyacinth, all but red golden. Think of gold infused on silver by craftsmen whose fine art Hephaestus taught him, or Athena, one whose works moved to delight, just so she lavished beauty over Odysseus's head and shoulders. He sat then in the same chair by the pillar, facing his silent wife, and said, Strange woman, the immortals of Olympus made you hard, harder than any. Who else in the world would keep aloof as you do from her husband if he returned to her from years of trouble, cast on his own land in the 20th year? Nurse, make up a bed for me to sleep on. Her heart is an iron in her breast. Penelope spoke to Odysseus now. She said, Strange man, if man you are, this is no pride on my part, nor scorn for you, not even wonder merely. I know so well how he appeared boarding the ship for Troy, but all the same, make up his bed for him, Euryclea. Place it outside the bedchamber my lord built with his own hands. Pile the big bed with fleeces, rugs, and sheets of purest linen. With this she tried him to the breaking point, and he turned on her in a flashing rage. Woman, by heaven, you've stung me now. How dare you move my bed? No builder had the skill for that, unless a god came down to turn the trick. No mortal in his best days could budget with the crowbar. There's our pact and pledge, our secret side, built into that bed, my handiwork and no one else's. An old trunk of olive grew like a pillar in the building spot, and I laid out our bedroom round that tree, lined up the stone walls, built the walls and roof, gave it a doorway and smooth-fitting doors, and I lopped off the silvery leaves and branches, hoed and shaped the stump from the roots up into a bedpost, drilled it, let it serve as a model for the rest. I planned them all, inlaid them all with silver, gold, and ivory, and stretched a bed between, a pliant web of ox-hide thongs dyed crimson. There's our sign. I know no more. Could someone else's hand have sawn that trunk and dragged the frames away? Their secret, as she heard it told. Her knees grew tremulous and weak. Her heart failed her. With eyes brimming with tears, she ran to him, throwing her arms around his neck and kissed him, murmuring, Do not rage at me, Odysseus. No one ever matched your caution. Think what difficulty the gods gave. They denied us a life together in our prime and flowering years, kept us from crossing into age together. Forgive me, don't be angry. I could not welcome you with love on sight. I armed myself long ago against the frauds of men, impostors who might come, and all those whose underhanded ways bring evil on. But here and now, what sign could be so clear as this of our own bed? No other man has ever laid eyes on it, only my own slave Echorus that my father sent with me as a gift. She kept our door. You make me stiff heart now that I am yours. Now from his breast into his eyes the ache of longing mounted, and he wept at last, his dear wife, clear and faithful in his arms, longed for as the sun-warmed earth is longed for by a swimmer spent in rough water where his ship went down under Poseidon's blows, gale winds, and tons of sea. Few men can keep alive through a big surf to crawl, clotted with brine on kindly beaches, enjoy knowing the abyss behind. And so she too rejoiced, her gaze upon her husband, her white arms round him pressed as though forever. And that ends Book 23 of the Odyssey.